Is the UK's response to coronavirus suffering from mission creep? Now, mission creep is when you have an initial objective, then over time that objective slowly shifts. A good example of this was the 2003 Iraq War. We were told shock and awe, we were told in and out quick, topple Saddam Hussein, everything will be good. 17 years later, America still has troops in Iraq and lives are still being lost. That's a good example of mission creep. Let's take a look at how coronavirus is mission creeping with the UK government. So this is from The Spectator. COVID-19 update, New York 21%, Stockholm 26%, London, what will that be? So this is to do with the antibody testings, finding out what percentage of the population of different cities have already had COVID-19. So how many of us have had the virus? Antibody testing is starting to provide answers to the question. In New York City, it's around 21%. Sweden's health agency yesterday said it should be about 26% in Stockholm by 1st of May. The UK government is finally starting its discovery process. Over the next few days, testing kits will be sent to 20,000 randomly selected households to screen the residents for COVID-19 antibodies. Now, I truly think herd immunity has always been the solution. It always will be the solution. The vaccine is just too far away. Even if we get a successful vaccine that will probably be here, say on the fast end of the scale, it's here in 12 months' time. In 12 months' time, such a large percentage of the UK population and the world population have already had COVID-19 that will be pretty much at herd immunity point anyway, rendering the vaccine almost worthless. The mission creep, right? We were initially told that we were going to flatten the curve, and this really is the shift in the mission creep. We were told, okay, we're going to lock society down temporarily. This is going to give the NHS time to ramp up, and we're going to slow the infection rate down so the NHS doesn't burst at the seams with so many ill people coming through the door at the same time. We've ticked that objective, right? This has more than happened. So this is from the Telegraph. Seldom have our hospitals lain so empty. There are almost 100,000 beds in the NHS, of which 42,540 were unoccupied as of yesterday. So the NHS has never seen levels like, well, if we've ever seen them, they've certainly been for a long, long time. 42,000, 42% of NHS beds are unused. We've never seen rates like this. So we've succeeded in the initial objective to flatten the curve, give the NHS time to build up capacity, not for too many people to become ill at the same time. We've ticked that objective, right? It's worked. The problem is with the mission creep now, the government won't unlock for whatever reason, whether it's control, whether it's working for multinational businesses that want a lockdown to sweep the market of the small players, whether the police just love the power. The wider objective of why they won't really reduce the lockdown now, that's up to the government. That's out of our hands. But this certainly is mission creep, right? We've succeeded in the first objective, and we're just in a state of mission creep, right? This always happens. This happens in war. This happens at any time of crisis. So no one should be that surprised about it. Another funny one coming out from the NHS, and this, again, we'll talk about like central planning and why it's so bad, why you should take your own informed choices. So this came out, well, this is the official, I thought this might be parody. I saw this on Facebook yesterday. I thought maybe this is a parody account, then it actually links you to the real NHS website. And it is true. So the NHS come out saying this yesterday. There have been some news reports about vitamin D reducing the risk of catching coronavirus. However, there's no evidence that this is the case. Read more about the vitamin D on our page. So we'll go to their page. Vitamin D, it's not just for coronavirus. So literally, this is the top. So you scroll down and it's got the little coronavirus bit here. Consider taking 10 micrograms of vitamin a day to keep your bones and muscles healthy. No talk about immune system. No talk about respiratory tract infections. Just for bones and muscles healthy. This is because you may not be getting enough vitamin D from sunlight. If you're indoors most of the day, which most of us are, because we're locked in our house, we're all under house arrest, so of course people aren't getting as much sunshine as they should be. There have been some news reports about vitamin D reducing the risk of coronavirus. However, there's no evidence that this is the case. Do not buy more vitamin D than you need to. And there's quite a lot of studies actually do suggest that vitamin D is pretty good for you. If you live as far north as the UK, you probably don't get enough sunlight. Most people don't. So vitamin D, this is from the World Health Organization, right? Vitamin D for prevention of respiratory tract infections. Let's take a scroll down. So vitamin D supplementation for preventing respiratory tract infection is not routinely done. For this intervention to be effective, it should be done continuously before respiratory tract infection starts. So if you want to protect yourself from COVID-19 or secondary pneumonia, which is quite possible. This will really protect you from it. Start taking it now. Don't wait until you get COVID-19. Start taking it now. Because the World Health Organization says if you want to take supplements, build it up before. Don't just wait till you get it. Another study here. So this is vitamin D and respiratory health. Let's take a scroll down. A recent meta-analysis found that vitamin D supplementation reduces total mortality. Global levels of vitamin D deficiency have been underestimated widely, and there's growing consensus that serum levels of vitamin D should be maintained above 30. And another one here, BMJ, vitamin D supplementation to prevent acute respiratory tract infections, systematic review and meta-analysis of individual participant data. I'll read from here. Vitamin D supplementation reduces the risk of acute respiratory tract infection amongst all participants. So for the NHS to say there's just nothing to this, I mean, just being deficient in vitamin D anyway will suppress your immune system. It's not just about bones. It's not just about muscle health. It makes it, and this is a free country, right? The central planning, the bureaucrats, the NHS, they shouldn't be, if anything, this NHS story here is actually fake news in itself. They're trying to suppress other people's fake news, but the NHS has become fake news in itself. So it's just a weird one. Just do your own research. The problem is with the NHS, they assume everybody is stupid. So yes, just taking vitamin D on its own won't prevent you from dying. It won't prevent you from contracting COVID-19. It, however, will possibly mitigate it. It may make your reaction, the symptoms of COVID-19 less. You may be asymptomatic when you would have been symptomatic. So the problem is here is the NHS obviously just works on the assumption that everybody is stupid and they need to just crush out fake news wherever it may be, even if there is no fake news, even if it makes sense. If you're locked in your house for 23 hours a day and you're not getting much sunshine, maybe it makes sense to take some vitamin D tablets. NHS don't think you do. They don't really care about your health, this whole COVID-19. None of it's about health. None of it's about protecting lives. Ultimately, at this point, it's just about power. It's about control. It's about the central planning, whether it be the government, whether that be the NHS. So NHS currently has 42% of its beds empty. We have successfully flattened the curve. We are health services in the UK not being overloaded. We are destroying the economy. So many people will die from that, but there's not much we can really do with that. The government are the people with the power, with the control, with the police to enforce the lockdown. Unfortunately, individuals can't do that. It seems herd immunity is spreading through the world. New York, about 21% of the population already had COVID-19. Stockholm, probably going to be about 26%. These numbers will continue to rise. The vaccine probably isn't the solution because in a year's time, how high is the people that have had COVID-19 in Stockholm going to be? It's probably going to be 60, 70%. It's going to probably start being the numbers where herd immunity starts to work. Anyway, I just thought it was an interesting one. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the fake news. Always don't do your own research because you can't even trust the NHS at this point because this is about control. It is no longer about saving lives, if it ever was. I don't know. Love to know your thoughts and opinions on this one, guys. Thanks for watching this video. Stay safe. Take vitamin D if you want to. Don't take it if you don't want to. It's a free country. It's your choice, guys. I'll see you in the next video.